Yo, what's up, guys? Your boy Eugene Smilez, and I'm back with another video. So, you're probably like, damn, Kanye album been out a couple days and you're just not doing a review. I listened to Kanye's album when it first came out. And had I done a review there, it would have been like, oh, this shit sucks. What the fuck is this? This is boring. Cutting this shit off. This is whack. That. Like, the album just wasn't busting. There we go. I want to turn this up some. The album just wasn't hitting first time I listened to it. And then I said I have to give it a couple days. You know, I'm a fan of Kanye. I'm a fan of his music, not his politics, not his foolery. Yeah, but I had to give it a couple days to listen to it again. And I was like, okay, there's some things on here I do like, but something is just missing. And then there's all this news. It's like stolen vocals, you taking people's vocals. Then it's this beef with Drake that's going on. Then you're saying the album wasn't supposed to. What's going on? We're about to talk about all this shit real quick. But before we get started, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Eugene Smilez on everything. Check out my EP, the Eugene Smilez Project, on all streaming services and iTunes. And I had a song that is finally fixed. Good Life is finally fixed on all those platforms. Great. But Mr. Ye. So, I've been a fan of Kanye since, Through the Wire, which I didn't really like Through the Wire when I first heard it, but I had to get into it. It was cool. My favorite Kanye albums are the ones from his earlier career: Late Registration, Graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Yeah. Those are my favorites. 808s and Heartbreaks was one of my top Kanye-ish kind of records. Let's first of all talk about the Donda event. I went to the Donda event in Atlanta. I went to the second one. I was out of town for the first one. I went to the second one. I haven't been to a concert in a while. I wanted to get out and have some kind of musical experience. So I went. It's just kind of funny how people say, like, Kanye's canceled, right? I never canceled Kanye. I just said, you know what? You're definitely one of those artists where I just listen to the music, and that's about it from you. Politics, no. I didn't understand the whole thing with him and Donald Trump. I don't know what he's going through. I do think Kanye needs therapy. Even now that he's, like, found Jesus, he still needs therapy, because finding Jesus does not mean that you're okay, and I still don't think he's okay in the head. But, it was a lot of black people there. And I'm wondering how many of those black people have canceled Kanye because of the whole Donald Trump situation and the MAGA hats and all. Like, how many of y'all have canceled him, but y'all are here at his event? The event was not completely sold out. The top of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium it looked like they didn't sell any tickets at the very top, that top circle. But there was a lot of people there. The merch was ridiculously high. Yeah. And it was kind of a waste of money because nothing happened. Like, I understand it was kind of like an album listening, but I was thinking he was going to be performing the songs or have performer for like performance dance or something. And we got really none of that. He came out, he was in the middle, like laying on the bed. He had a bunch of people coming out, which I was like, damn, how did he become those people? Because I would have loved some free shoes and vests. I like free stuff. I would have loved all that free stuff. But yeah, people came out. They walked around in circles. They walked around in reverse circles. They bounced up and down. It was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, and the thing is, when you're listening to music inside of a stadium, you can't really understand a lot of what's being said. You can definitely hear the bass, which when the bass start bumping, people start bouncing and stuff like that, but you can't really understand what's being said a lot, especially with certain rap types. You can understand voices here and there. I was like, ooh, that's Pop Smoke. Ooh, that's Pusha T. Ooh, that's Jay-Z, which we had seen a lot of, news about that. And yeah, ooh, that's Lil Baby. Um, yeah, that might be The Weekend. Yeah, like it was just like, okay, it wasn't worth the money, but it was something. It's content. It was something, right? Um, so it was a lot of people there. So Kanye clearly is not canceled by the black people. Um, and not saying that all black some black people probably didn't cancel him. But that was what Black Twitter was saying, that he was canceled. Um, Only big highlight of the Donda event was when he was floating in the air. It's a nice visual, but it still didn't give us what we needed or what we expected. I expected some type of performance or some type of something that was going to be visually appetizing, and I didn't get that. The Donda event was a thumbs down. Absolutely a thumbs down. Now, I would have loved to have been at the Chicago event because he did a little bit more. He built like was that his childhood home or was that a church? I heard childhood home, but then I hear it looks like a church. I don't know. He had the church slash childhood home. It was on fire. He was on fire. Kim came out. Like it was more things going on. So that might have been the one to go to. Um, but the one in Atlanta sucked. Somebody did get arrested because they did try to run out on the floor, but they got mollywopped. All right, so let's get into the actual album. What's going on with Kanye and Drake? Like, it's like they have this love-hate relationship. Drake and Jay-Z have a love-hate relationship where they kind of throw shots at each other, but then they still work on songs together. But then this Kanye and Drake thing, it's just, what's going on? Yeah, but Kanye's album came out like Saturday, and then Kanye saying that Universal just put his album out without his permission. But how did they get it? Because you've been working on it, pushing it back, working on it, adding this person, working on it, and then they somehow got the album and then they put it out. Maybe you wanted them to wait till next week. Maybe that's what it was. I think what happened was Kanye was done, submitted the album. They probably got word that Drake was going to drop his album next week, which is Friday. And then they were just like, shit, we're gonna drop it early. Because, publicity, sales is publicity now. If you have a number one album, it's gonna make people say, oh, the album's number one. Let's go ahead and listen to this album. And, if they haven't listened to it, or it's going to be like, oh, it sold this amount and blah, blah, blah. And even if it's a short tracking week, like the tracking week starts on Friday and his is starting on Saturday, and it does big numbers, it's still promo saying, oh, we didn't even have a full week and we did this. So I guess that's why they did it. And at the time, Jail Part 2 was blocked, which was the one that features the fetus. And let's talk about that real quick. So there was a lot of publicity when we heard Jay-Z on the song, right? Everyone's like, oh, might be the return of the throne, one of the best songs on the album. But then when, that the Chicago event, the fetus came out and Jail played and his verse was playing and people are like, oh no, where's Jay-Z? I thought we had the throne. Where's Jay-Z? But then, turns out there's two different versions of the song. Okay, whatever. My issue with the fetus, formerly known as the baby, if y'all are that confused, but he has a line saying that food that y'all took off my plate is the same food I feed my daughters with. Nobody told you to say anything about anything. Like literally, you opened your mouth about people getting fellatio, men getting and giving fellatio in the parking lot. Nobody asked you anything. You said something offensive about AIDS and HIV, AIDS. You said that. So if people decide they don't want to work with you based on your comments and your public opinions, because best believe there's a lot of entertainers who have opinions about certain things, and they don't say them because they might be controversial, and they don't want to lose their jobs, and they don't want to lose work, and they want to lose their money. You should have thought about that. But then you want to say the food we took off your plate, which I'm not quoting the exact line, but the food we took off your plate is what you feed your daughter with. Pawn your jewelry, pawn your cars, sell your clothes. If your plate is starting to get a little empty and you can't feed your daughter or your upcoming child or whatever, that's not our problem. The thing is that when you're an entertainer, you have to rely on the public to buy your products, to buy your music, to listen to your music. The public. So when you start offending the public, offending fans who are purchasing your music, they're going to stop listening to it. They're going to stop streaming it or buying it. And then if people aren't listening or buying it, or people are offended by what you're saying, guess what? They're going to stop booking you for these festivals, which that's how you make your money, because people aren't really going on tour. People are starting to go on tour, but people aren't really going on tour. So festivals are a good way to get a lot of money. So whose fault is that? Maybe you need to go to Walmart if you know what I'm saying, they're hiring. Target is hiring 15 an hour. Wendy's. I don't know. And then there's this thing about you apologizing to you don't apologize to the black leaders, because the black leaders don't give a fuck about the LGBTQ plus community anyway. Yeah. So that bullshit that you try to pull with apologizing, and then you tweeted out something about you being, we don't care. We don't care. I'm gonna tell you, all of the baby stuff has been deleted off of my Spotify. I was never a huge fan of his, but he had a few bops. He got a few bops, and I teach cycle, so I'll be cycling to some of his stuff I used to be, but it's off. All this shit is off. Only time the baby gonna get any kind of play is if I play a little Megan and he happened to be on there. That might be the only time. That's it. But the baby, Jail Part 2, trash. Jail Part 1, thumbs up. Get into the album. First biggest complaint about the Donda album: it's clean. What? One of the things I hated about when I taught cycle at a big franchise or a big gym was they they want you to do no clean. I mean, they want you to do clean mixes or clean songs. I personally don't think that art should be censored unless censoring the art is a part of the art. So I was like, damn, this album's clean. The fuck? Like, Kanye, I get you don't want to curse, even though there's some parts of the album where you're like, like you wanted to curse, but you said, Christians curse all the time. They drink, they commit adultery, they commit fornication. If that's what you was feeling in the time, I think you should have cursed. And then your guest on the album, like your features, they were cursing, but you were taking it out. I don't think art should be censored. Hence why I don't have a clean version of my EP out. For what? Maybe if I could ever get signed or something and they want to put a clean version out, sure. But otherwise, it's gonna be a lot of cursing. So I hate that the album is clean. But then again, I don't know if he did that because he's Christian, Jesus, woo, or if he's like, this is going to be a part of the art. The art is it being clean. I don't know. I hate it. I hate that it's clean. One of the other big issues were the beats sounded unfinished. They sound like they're building up to something that never happened. It's like when you're having sex and you're like about to, and it just never happened. That's what a lot of the beats sound like. Some of the beats, they're okay, and they sound kind of like interludes, like boom, boom, hey, and you're like thinking it's gonna go up, and it just never goes up. It just never goes. It just sounds a little stripped down. This album to me is a mix of 808s and Heartbreaks, Jesus is King, of course, and Yeezus. Um, One of these albums I really, really loved. Haven't listened to in a while though. Yeezus, Blood on the Leaves. I mean, it had a couple things on there I liked. Um, but Jesus is King. Jesus is King has some cute stuff, but I don't know if I want to listen to gospel Kanye. I ain't really with it. And then lyrically, this is the worst Kanye album lyrically. I felt like before, early Kanye was really rapping. He was really kind of saying things, clever things. Like, I don't really consider him like a lyricist, but he says things that are very clever and that really go and that punch and stuff like that. This I feel like a lot of it was him kind of freestyling, um, a lot of first draft, a lot of the things, and it's a lot of lines he repeats. But in saying that, it was very lined up with like gospel music. There's a lot of gospel songs, especially like traditional long, like very popular gospel songs, where they repeat a lot of the same lines. Repeat a lot of the same lines is to help rile the crowd up and to really get into the Holy Spirit. So I guess that's kind of what he was doing, but it just wasn't. It's definitely not lyrical Kanye. Now his features were doing their thing. The best part of this, the best artist on these projects is definitely the features. They kind of carried it along. They kind of gave us some variety. Had this been a whole Kanye only album, whew, it'd have been a struggle. It'll definitely been a struggle. My favorite songs: Jail Part One. Guess who's going to jail tonight? That's very meme worthy. That's very TikTok worthy. It's funny. A bitch is trying you. You be like, well, guess who's going to jail tonight? Like, just guess who's going to jail? That is all I thought about. It was funny to me. I like how Jay-Z was like, he told Kanye to get that MAGA stuff and let's go home. Like, glad to see Jay-Z and Kanye are communicating and working together on some things. Hurricane was cool. It just feels like it's missing something. Again, that might have been that production thing. Praise God. I love to hear Travis Scott on track. Praise God was cute. Jonah with Lil Durk, cute. Again, these are all the ones with the features on it. Okay, okay, I'm not okay. That was probably the hypest song, and I do remember that from the Donda release. I was like, remember hearing her like, hey, like this might be the song that we bop to, but then just doesn't go where it should. It just doesn't go where it should. Julia, the beat with Playboy Cardi, the beat was really bumping for me. Another one of the top songs is the one that samples Lauryn Hill. That felt like it was going towards an old Kanye. Like that felt like old Kanye. Like had Kanye did this song and say, I'm gonna kind of build this album around this song or this sound, I think the album would have been hype. It would have been more and more hype. The choir on 24. 24 is praise and worship. It's praise and worship all day. I love the choir. I love the Sunday school choir album where they sampled a lot, like all of the R&B songs. I mean, that's what that's giving. So if you want praise and worship, 24 is going to be it. Let's talk about these stolen vocals. Lord, I need you. Lord, I want to put your arms around me. Like, it sounds amazing. But to find out that I don't know if this girl put it on, I guess she put it on social media and it looks like it's an older video and he took it and just tuned it, changed the tone, put it on the album. Like, Kanye, pay this girl. She about to take you to court. Well, you got $1 billion, right? So you can give $1 to everybody in the world. Pay homegirl for her vocals. Like, don't do that. Don't you a Christian, but you stealing vocals, ain't getting permission. Well, Christians do steal. Tell Me the Vision with Pop Smoke. Didn't understand why that was in there. I felt like that was definitely just thrown in there because of Pop Smoke. And you can hear the original song that it came from on the song under the beat that Kanye produced. Um, what? That was foolish. Um, and Pure Soul sound like it was just freestyle. Like I felt like a lot of the album was Kanye just thinking the stuff as he's making beats and just start saying it, and then didn't really want to put them together or make it sound better or maybe do a second and third draft. It just kind of was like thrown together. Um, Either way, to me, the album is definitely going to be on the lower end of Kanye's spectrum of albums. Definitely not anywhere near his best. Not production wise, not lyrical, not an album as a whole, not the theme, and that Donda. Um, my mom has passed away too. Uh, I did do a kind of a tribute on my project, but I wouldn't ever just be saying her name over and over again. It sounds like you're trying to cast a spell on me. Um, it's a little creepy, and I don't want to listen to that over and over again. So those have been muted on my Spotify. Uh, Overall, if I had to rate this album out of a, I don't know, a five, it would probably be maybe a 2.5. Just because it sounds a little incomplete. I felt like Kanye could have took a little bit more time lyrically and really tried to hone in on what he was trying to get across. It's not completely horrible. Sonically, it's okay. I just feel like the beats aren't going where they're supposed to be. And what saved it was the feature saved it, especially the Jay-Z feature, because we wanted to hear a Jay-Z and Kanye song. We want the throne to come back, but it might be a Christian throne. So I don't know what the throne is gonna give. I don't know. But it looks like the album is gonna sell 350,000 units coming up. We're gonna see, and then Drake is coming out like a couple days after. We're gonna see, guys. So, what do you think of the album? What do you think of Kanye's album? And